we are on our way to 2 million pesos net worth as a family. So for context, I'm a mom of three and a breadwinner trying to build a 60 million peso portfolio by the age 60. So as you can see here, this is our wealth dashboard. Our wealth dashboard has 6 tabs. Kindly note that this is a highly personalized dashboard I created for our investments and for tracking the things that I need to do each month in order to make sure that we are contributing to this goal. So what is the goal? 60 million pesos, and currently we are at 2.97% of that goal. Our portfolio is helping a lot. This is mostly our global portfolio at 100,000, and our net worth is 1,783,206. Now, we didn't get here easily. I'm already 42. There had been a lot of things that was done in order for us to achieve this, and honestly, we've been derailed several times because of our responsibilities to our family and also for building a house for us to stay in. So that took a large chunk out of our net worth, but instead, it gave us security, it gave us comfort, and it gave us a sturdy roof over our heads. So I just wanted to acknowledge this milestone, which the dashboard shows, but note that what matters more to me is how we got here and not the actual net worth that I am showing to you right now. Because this can still be wiped out at any moment's notice. I hope not, but things are uncertain nowadays, and my family, my mom, my dad is getting older. The kids would also need as they enter their college. So we're preparing for all of those, but let's focus on this dashboard. So I have here 6 tabs: the strategy engine, the projections and variance, checklist, global assets, Philippine assets, and cash reserves. Note that this dashboard is highly personalized. So I am trying to create something that is more standard and something that I can share with you, but I'm still working on it, and I will update you on that in the next couple of weeks. First and foremost, I wanted to focus on the strategy engine, which is, I think, the most important thing in this dashboard because it reminds me if the thesis is still intact and if I will still be moving in the trajectory I have initially planned, which is investing in global stocks and ETF with a sector tilt in semiconductors and my asymmetric bet being ASML. That's a lot of jargon, I know, but you can revisit my other videos on how I came up with this portfolio and the reason behind it. So every first week of the month, I try to update this in order for me to ensure that my investment for this month will stay on track. So going back, the thesis validation only focuses on 3 questions. So the first question is, semiconductors showing continued high demand signals. So as you know, I am investing heavily in SMGB, and this question matters in my portfolio the most because I have a 25% allocation to SMGB in my overall portfolio. And if it continues, that is going to be very good for my portfolio. However, if there will be any signals that shows weakness for more than 5 months to a year, I'll probably rethink the percentage on SMGB. Basically, it's not that I will remove it or something like that drastically, but I will probably lessen my allocation and introduce something else that will balance the equation. Next is my AI thesis. So the reason why I built this portfolio with VOAA, SMGB, and ASML is because I believe that AI will still be continuously hyperscaling in the next 5 years. As you know, Anthropic and OpenAI is also doing their IPOs in the stock market. So that further cement this thesis that it's still continuously scaling. So, and the last one, for the ASML, this question, I would check this monthly as well if it's still the monopoly on EUV. So, because this company has been the number 1 producer, or actually it's near monopoly on this EUV, they have built their clientele, and the earnings report they have reflects this. So the only reason I will change or I will try to check another monopoly or remove this as my asymmetric bet is if their earnings report suffers for like a whole year, because that would mean like there is weakness and there is becoming a change that sector or in their moat. And then another thing is if another company introduces a different technology and becomes a different monopoly, if the AI starts to proceed with that company, that's the only time that I will be reconsidering my asymmetric bet, which is ASML. But right now, it's just like 14% of my portfolio. It's not so big. It can easily be replaced. But the thing is, it has already earned like roughly 40% since the time I have bought it. And I have only bought a fraction of it, not even 1 stock. Yes. So, and then lastly, I have my guardrails. As I have mentioned, I have 3 kids. So my top priority would always be having the tuition fee ready for them for the next school year, and then my cash reserves ready if there is any emergency or any situation that we would need cash allocation. All right. So if all those are met, my engine analysis still stays the same, which is I will just continue my aggressive deployment to our global assets. All right, so I'm going to move to our checklist. We're contributing 770 pesos for my husband's SSS. We're going to ramp that up when we reach probably 50 or 55, but right now we're just paying the minimum to keep him enrolled in SSS. And next one is our allocation in the local stock market, which is mainly through Dragonfly. The only reason I am choosing Dragonfly is because I am contributing to my Pera account and it has that feature. But I saw recently that they have included an additional charge, which is like around 0.45% per year or 300 pesos, whichever is lower. So when I computed my total contribution per year, which is roughly around 108,000. If I complete the whole year, that would mean we're only paying 300 pesos. And then we will still have the 5% tax credit, which is probably around 5,000 pesos. It still makes up the difference. And then the last one is our trading to 1-2 contribution to our global assets, which is 24,174 currently. So in the next couple of months, once we have completed the payment for our housing loan, because we have like 2 months to go for that loan. That's the only time we're going to increase the investment to 53,944. So for now, we're still waiting for October to come. So wake me up when September ends. All right. So that is the strategy and global assets, local assets, projections and variance. So for this one, I have actually tried to map out the annual contribution in projection for the next 18 years. So we started 2026 for this year. The contribution is only at around 450K. That is the expected contribution, which makes the total investment up to 1.45 million pesos. So as you can see, there's also the target value, which means that the account or the compound annual growth rate is included in the projection. So if you would see here, our live investments, this includes all the cash that was invested in the global PH assets as well as the ones listed in our cash reserves. The variance to the live target, which is 1.55 million peso. And this bar shows the target invested gain. So for this one, you would see it's 100,000. But right now, we're at 106,882, which is higher than our projection. So I have also included here the guidance for me on my key portfolio pivots. So this is the build phase. So for example, if I reach 6.5 million, which is around 10% of the portfolio, I will be trying to consider EIMI to be introduced in the portfolio. EIMI would serve as like the total market outside of US. That's going to be a future diversification asset that I'm looking at. So all of those are listed here with the intention of crossing or at least getting near 60 million pesos. So if you would see here, because of the addition of the EIMI at 5%, we are only looking at 58 million pesos. But note that this does not consider any increase in our contribution. It stays at 650,000 per year. So hopefully, if we get any additional cash in the next couple of years, we'll be able to add to this so that we'll be able to achieve our target. So that's the projections and variance. This tab serves as my general guidance all throughout the investment process. So next, you have seen this. I've already showed this before. This is the global assets, the only assets that I am currently invested on, which is VIA, SMGB, and ASML. Right now, all of them are in the green. So, because I was able to buy at the lower level during the war and accumulate there. In this dashboard, I have additional spaces for other assets, but I'll probably just keep it up until 4 or 5 to ensure that there's maximum allocation for each. I have not added on the yield because, as you know, all of them are accumulating except for ASML. Next, I have the tab for Philippine assets. I have assets in Call Financial, Dragonfly, and First Metro. I've tried all three, and so far I'm using mostly Dragonfly because of the reason I have told you earlier for investing in the Pera account. I have here a yield helper tool wherein you just need to input the net cash you receive for the stock, the current total shares, and the market price so it can calculate the yield. So for this one, I was able to indicate that the current yield for AREIT is 5.72%. Lastly, we have the cash reserves where I do my digital cash stuffing. For this month, there's not much change in our individual accounts, but we're preparing to pay for the tuition fee of our eldest, which is we're just waiting for the sibling discount we need from the school in order to pay that in full so that we can prepare for next year. And lastly, I have here a small window for the USD Philippine foreign exchange rate. So just the dashboard can refer to it when translating all the figures into Philippine peso. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have questions regarding the wealth dashboard. And as always, that's the update for the day, group mates. See you on the next one.